Hey everyone, welcome back to the North American Challenger Series. It's time now for the second game in the quarterfinal between DNL Esports and Team Coast. Now Coast leads 1-0, they had a 30-minute win, 19-2 in kills, just complete control the whole time.
Yeah, Coast's early aggression paid off. They were 8-1 in kills at the 10-minute mark, 20-minute mark, about a 10K gold lead, and they just closed it out from there. The early aggression in the bottom lane, getting a level 1 kill, and then not giving up any in response and still getting the support daddy out of the lane.
Yeah.
It's crazy aggression. Then that freed up Santorin to do whatever he wanted.
And you talked about them. I mean, Santorin, again, the new jungler, is doing very well for the team. You talked about the bot lane, though, being ludicrously strong. Mash and Sheep went 6-1 and 18 combined, 24 KDA across that bot lane. And, okay, sure, any game is 19-2. You can pick out two players that'll do really well. At some point, those stats look good. But, I mean, the entire time, they first picked Lucian for Mash for a reason. Sheep got his Thresh for a reason, and it was painful. It's something you've got to deal with somehow.
Yeah, and Rux in the top lane just continued to push, didn't need assistance or attention at all from Santorin. Santorin's like, I'm going to look bottom, stay bottom. One dragon went over to Denial, the very first dragon. That was just because of some positioning and weird backing in terms of timers for Coast.
Yeah. But
that set up Denial for a possible comeback opportunity, but they didn't just grab it the correct way. They ended up squandering that little bit of a bump in goal.
Well, it's unfortunate then for these guys, but they now have to rebound and make it happen here in Game 2. They got to get this going for these guys. Yasuo's still banned away from Golden Glue, so they're still removing the important assassin for the guy. I still think getting rid of Ziggs might just free up maybe Cooper to win the lane himself. Not the case so far. Elise also away from Santorin. The Lulu, so to be fair, it also could be support daddy's Lulu. It's what it's actually the most played, so that could have gone a lot of places, but that removed still.
And the Elise being banned away from Santorin was an utter terror, and he loves Elise in this patch and loves what she can do.
Yeah.
And loves the fact that you get Quill, or the, what is it, Spirit Quill?
It's Quill Coat.
Quill Coat. That's
and
right.
Ancient Golem.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Spirit Stone. Nope. Quill Coat now.
Well,
so the Quill Coat gives you a ward. He's like, I love using that ward. I'm going to go invade, place it right there, and wait for the guy. Because level 3 Elise is better than almost every other level 3 champion in the jungle.
Pretty strong. A lot of 6 spells level 3. It's a pretty good way to go. Gragas removed away from Anda, but this does leave the Rengar that was banned available right off the bat. 2 jungle bans were sent to Santorin. Let's see what it has to go for now.
Everybody's giving a little nod to Jace. In every game, somebody's hovered over it, and now it's been hovered over twice here. And the Rengar pickup here for Inori is actually really good because he didn't fare very well last game. And if he ends up getting level 3 and you are in your jungle, Rengar is one of the worst people to invade because he can root you, he can run away, he can use the bushes to his advantage, dip and dive out of them. He does a lot of damage early on.
Yeah.
So he's definitely one of those people that you want to kind of stay away from. And then level 6, he's going to come to every lane. We saw a Rengar game earlier today.
Yeah.
Didn't end up winning it for Curse with I Will Dominate.
But his ganks were great.
Exactly. And then Robert post-game was saying, no, just don't want to deal with a Rengar. It's so much pressure on the bottom lane, at the every lane pretty much. It's like having an Evelynn, but with a lot more kill pressure.
Sure. I mean, you heard his advice. No, don't learn Rengar. I don't want to play against him. Everyone else, just leave him by the wayside. Ziggs still goes through for Golden Glue, though, as does Lucian. So Coast actually picking the same 2 champions that they had picked at the beginning last time. 2 of the 3 because they were blue side, but Coast not wanting to change the strategy one bit.
Yeah, it worked last time.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, they get less jungle pressure, but heck, the rest of that lineup's still available.
They have a lot of options here, and Nubby, if he's going to go with the Orianna again into the Ziggs matchup, he did end up going even in it, and then it was just jungle pressure that ended up swaying the matchup. Right now, Support Daddy might go with the Morgana because it would be into Thresh.
Yeah, it would most likely be into Thresh, but I feel like if you're comfortable with your own Thresh play, you pick that yourself. Like, I don't know. It's like, I'm a fan of some of the counter matchups that exist in the bottom lane. Like, I really like Nami into Morgana, for example. I just feel like there's so many tricky things Thresh can do, especially when you're a Thresh god like Sheep, that being like, well, I got Morgana, but like, that doesn't count, I feel like. So that to me really is troubling as Denial, but they're going to try to make it work. Yep, there we go. The Evelynn, of course, makes much sense for Santorin Coast. Just picking the normal things you normally do.
Yeah, Sheep will take Thresh pretty much every time he's left up. Signature champion right there. It's kind of like we saw Vasily with Tristana earlier today. That's actually his signature champion. He's known back in China for his Tristana play.
Well, he's known in America now for it.
Yes, now he's known for it. He's making a name for it and bringing it over. Being like, oh, it's in the meta now.
It's mine.
Yep, you guys are going to have to recognize.
Why not?
Sheep at the same time with his Thresh play Denial still haven't recognized they're putting too many bans on these different things. Like, they banned away the Lee Sin, even though it wasn't picked or banned last game.
They figured it was tier 2 after release is the thing. They were like, we want to push you down off the playmakers.
And they didn't want to pick it themselves, I guess. Right. Because they did first pick a jungler.
Right, they wanted the Rengar. I mean, it pulled them in the first time. I understand that completely. I do want to know what Denial goes for. They keep actually an aggressive top laner here. Well, actually, I guess they switched to a more aggressive top laner. Renekton comes through. It'll be the mirror matchup there. So Rux will play the Shyvana this time around. Anda thinks he can beat him up now in the matchup. Stixxay now is going to have a bit more of a defensive champion. If they can get to late game, if Rengar holds them on, then Tristana can go try to carry, but I want to see if this pays out for Denial.
You just have to get to about level... I guess the ganks at level 3 are actually pretty good. Morgana has some gank assistance. You can land the binding, and then Rengar will jump out and go ahead and root and do a lot of damage in the assistance. But when you hit level 6, it's just constant pressure in that bottom lane. You wait for a binding to land, and then you go. Top lane might be okay, but I think Rux is just such a skilled player, even in this matchup.
Yeah. Here's the weird thing about that, though. Because on paper, and also not on paper, it should be fine. So, for example, Rux, for what it's worth, I mean, we know Rux is awesome, to be fair. I'm looking at purely at solo queue, though. Rux D169 LP is not actually that high. Like, D190, you're like, okay, you're basically challenger, whatever. Like, you get capped and it's hard to make challenger. That's fine. If you're D190, I'm like, you're great. I won't touch you ever. If you're in the 60s, I feel like that's actually like a tier below to a certain extent. Whereas Anda's top 70 in challenger. He's number 69. Like, that to me is an actual skill gap. Where, like, Anda on paper is a stronger player. That said, though, Anda's pretty new to competitive. And I got that wrong during the game. I said it was Nori, but it's Anda who's newer to competitive there. Whereas Rux has been crushing on a team for a while. So it's like, Rux has the experience in this kind of situation, but like theoretically, individual skill-wise, Anda should be good here. So like, I feel like that should work for Denial.
Yeah, theoretically, but in a team-based game,
of course,
it's the calls, it's what you do in the lane, it's how well you stack up against them. And look at that, Anda is going with the Doran's Blade first, but Rux is going to go ahead and go with the shield, keep himself safe for the start.
Well, when it was flipped around, it was still the Doran's Blade for the Renekton, but it was Cloth 5 for Shiv. Rux wants Doran's Shield Potion. We'll see how this matchup plays out here. It is going to be it's going to look like, I should say, the 1v1s. Once again, supports always stand above the AD carries, and it just is always...
This is going to get you every time.
It does. I just want it to line up. I have that, like, not like true OCD, but like it's just nice to see that fit. Oh well, whatever, it's fine. Don't do it on my account. Do what you think is best for your team, even though it's really equivalent.
It's kind of like when you stack up books, you want to do it by size, so the smallest one's on top.
I actually stack things alphabetically by color.
So like,
black, then blue, reds towards the end, whites all the way over. Oh, not quite.
Nope. Not going to get that ward, but they also know that Inori is on the top side of the jungle.
That's true. That will be useful information. He could get down to red in time. Honestly, there's not really many aggressive wards here from Coast. So you might see Inori actually do just that. Look at that. He's down by the wolf camp. He's making his way down to the bottom lane. A bit of a level 1 gambit, though, by Stixxay and Support Daddy. They're hiding in this, the upper brush. They actually got pinged out while doing it. That's surprising to me, because I don't think they would have gotten seen doing this, but they are chilling in that brush, hoping for a play.
And Nori's actually going to walk back to his blue and start there. So actually, I talked about how Rengar has this presence on the map at level 6. Evelynn was the person I compared him to.
Right.
They ended up picking Evelynn for Santorin, who has all of that type of pressure unless you ward in the jungle early on. So there's going to be a lot of threats here, and it's going to be who has more bravery, really, in this bottom lane. Because if you go really hard early on, and like the level 3 mark, either jungler could be there.
True.
It's very hard to detect both of them. Level 6, it's even harder.
Well, right now the Denial are pushing out, which guarantees them basically that when Rengar does sneak in, there's no wards to watch him. If they actually do keep this pushed up, they will know when Sheep goes to like around the wall to ward the river or something like that. So if Inori can get 3 fast and sneak in from the brush, I mean, brush ganks are great for Rengar. It lets him in on the lanes.
So keep it pushed. Tristana's definitely going to help with that. Tormented Soil on top of it.
Yeah, this is a guaranteed push for them now. There's actually no good way for Coast to pull it back, especially if you push like at the right times. You can guarantee damage on the wave as they're still sitting under turret. So there's a good way to actually deny golden XP, or not XP, but gold here, Santorin level 3 does not look to go to the bottom lane just yet, and Nori has a slower clear right now, but he's not too far behind.
It's a great adaptation to go ahead and pick that Tristana in the bot lane and just hard push it to make sure that it's further up, you'll get the level 2.
Nori's looking to gank, I think, because he saved his savagery during that camp. So he's running right down to the bottom lane now. They know that one trinket came down, and they haven't seen any others yet. Support Daddy on level 2 here. He's got to be a bit careful. Actually takes a lot of damage here.
He's just standing there. There was a type coming out.
Interesting. Well, looks like they're okay. The Support Daddy's back in. Now, Inori knows this is not warded here. He knows the upper brush is, though.
He has the 5
You can actually flash jump.
Yeah, because it lasts for like a half second. There. Oh,
gets the root onto Mash. There's a jump on in. Mashby turns the summoner heal, but he's in on towards Sheep. Good damage comes through. Down the binding hits. That is what they needed. Sheep is going to go down. Stixon gets the kill. Beautiful play.
The dive back into the bush to get the gap closer again was huge from Inori, and that's why they first picked the Rengar for that type of pressure alongside the Tristana.
There you go, man. Save the savagery. Inori, you saw him actually last at the rest of that camp with just basic attacks, and I was like, you don't do that unless you want to gank right now.
Yeah.
5 points in savagery. Or
ferocity.
Ferocity, thank you. Sorry, there's
Savagery's
similar
the
words.
Q.
I know. He doesn't have 5 points in the Q yet. He's not level 9. However, when he does, he'll have 5 points in savagery, so I won't be wrong then. But 5 points of ferocity gets the gank. Beautiful play.
Casting from the future, it gets you in trouble sometimes.
Yeah. In a few minutes when he levels up 6 more times.
But yeah, when you hold on to it, it's basically telegraphing, I'm going to gank now. Because usually you'd use it to heal yourself and just be a little more sustainy when you're walking through camps. Or you're like, okay, I'm going to hold on to these and then bola somebody and root them.
Yep. He made it happen. So Sheep and Mash back into the lane. Sheep just got some more wards. Actually didn't pick up much else, really. So he has not gone closer to his GP10. He's not gotten closer to a Ruby Crystal either. So it actually holds Sheep down a little bit, where he just had to spend a bunch of money, and the wards didn't pay off just yet. Meanwhile, first recall comes through. Pickaxe for Stixon. He's already back in the lane plus Frostfang, so this bot lane could actually continue to snowball well. More damage in the AD carry, more gold generation on the support, and they can keep putting out this pressure of Inori. This is the makings of a very good thing. Plus, pink ward down, they can watch for Evelynn. Bot lane could snowball off.
Yeah, Santorin's just been farming. He has twice the farm of Inori right now, but it's all jungle creeps. In the top lane, though, Rux is actually holding even in terms of CS.
Yes, and that's actually impressive there by Rux, because Rux was winning this matchup by a small margin. Last game, they flip it, and Rux holds even. That's good play.
It makes you feel really demoralized when that happens, too. Yep. Especially when there wasn't really any jungle pressure top. You're sitting there going, wow, this guy played it against me, and I lost to him. So I played what he played, and now I'm losing to him, or at least going even, and he's not losing to me.
Right. I lost both times in the matchup.
It feels really bad.
We need a term for that. I know Donkey made a video on it, but I don't really want to call it, like, a donkey.
Getting donkey.
Because it's not, like, I don't feel like that's appropriate. Jat did it once in solo queue. He told us about it. He's like, yeah, I got rocked in this one match. I was like, oh yeah, Fiora's just overpowered. Then he plays Fiora, loses the exact same match at the next game. He's like, all right, I'm just bad.
Yeah.
But it's not pulling a Jat either. Doesn't count. Don't make it a thing.
No, pulling a Jat is something else.
I don't want to know what that is.
It's like
At All Esports, you can help us figure it out. Denial, though, trying to hold on to this game. 400 gold lead. But Santorin is waiting in the wings. The ward doesn't count. Of course, he's invisible. Inori's waiting for the counter gank, though. Actually, who's the counter gank in this case? I don't think either team necessarily knows the junglers are there.
No, they don't. They have no idea at this point.
Then I would see that ward timeout, though.
Santorin's actually going to go back to his jungle and just continue farming on this Evelynn. He hasn't been having the same type of counter jungling force because he can't counter jungle a Rengar.
Sure.
Can't go into his own territory.
You can't win the 1v1. That's the big issue. Is you can use the stealth to kill them at a camp and use that to make it kind of like a 1.5v1, and then you'll win the fight. But yeah. Ooh, nice try.
A little shadow came by his feet. He's like, what was that? Oh, yeah, everything's good.
Staying safe. Santorin is the first of the junglers to hit level 6. 7 minutes in. That means he has been farming very rapidly. 7-minute level 6 for the junglers. A pretty quick timing there. Still half a level to go for Inori, but his buffs are respawning. Means he's not far behind that. You know, we did see the Renekton Orianna combos before.
There's
Santorin
the
gets
pink
spotted.
ward. It's going to see Santorin.
But there is Shyvana ulti and doesn't find anything. Ando just gets out safely. Santorin will spot the ward. Inori, can he help them to kill this? It's like just the blue buff. Gonna go to Nubby Pooh Bear.
Santorin's going to start running down and checking the blue. Level 6 finally comes out for Inori.
All right, so where's the first gank? He's actually got 5 ferocity right now. Ulti is up. But right now you're seeing how safe Golden Glue's playing. He wave clears, walks over to the Wraith camp. He is not going to put himself in harm's way. He's got a pink ward to the left-hand side that will spot any Rengar gank from that side. So the only way to go in for Denial is through the bottom side.
And they're going to get Rengar the red. I think Golden Glue wants that blue handed off to him before he does anything else. Yeah, he's holding on to 5 right now.
Oh, exclamation mark pings. Those are the danger pings sent out by Denial saying, hey, look out for this upper brush right here. You don't know if there might be an Evelyn in it.
If he was going to ulti, he would do it now.
Well, right now his team calls out that Evelyn's doing the blue buff there with the team. This is their chance to make the play.
He's going in.
Goes in, they spot that. There's the black shield on. They find Mash. Can they get the damage down in time? Buster shot going to get him out of the way of the Bola. Into the turret. Burning. One hit from Deb, but he's not going to go down. Support Daddy walks out. Very nearly claim him. 3 summoners burned.
No ignite from Support Daddy either.
Yeah.
It's just the explosive shot active, ticking away at him, and it still wasn't enough. That's going to be an ultimate from a Nori burn, a flash from Support Daddy, but 3 summoners from that bottom lane.
Well, the binding hits though onto Thresh, though. Big damage coming through. Sheep at half HP. Santorin shows up early. Ult pop by Support Daddy to get him the heck off that fight. Denial are actually pushing this lane quite well. 14 minion lead for the AD carry here is a good thing for these guys. 800 gold lead still holds for Denial.
Yeah, they got better early game champions, and they aren't letting this get away from them. But of course, you have to watch out for the scaling of Rux. You also have to watch out for what happens later on in this game in terms of the mid lane.
Rux really wants that fight just to push the wave down. I think he might want to just recall and teleport back in. That's normally what I see Shiv ults for. There we go. It's so pretty. It's like a little blue halo.
It's in the air.
Yep.
So angelic.
Exactly.
Well,
as a Yordle,
peaceful. Yeah,
the race that Teemo is in, every Yordle's angelic.
It's actually the friend of Teemo. Lord.
Yes, they're good buddies for good reason.
I love the part where she sits there and is like, yeah, something clicks off in his brain and he becomes a psychopathic killer.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
More reasons
I'll
to love
be his
Teemo.
friend.
Darn right. Hey, they're on the same side. They fight for Bandle City. However, only Yordle on the team. Only Yordle in the game.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Lulu was banned, so it makes sense.
What's Ziggs?
Yeah, you're right. Ziggs is a Yordle. I don't know why I didn't see that. Just kidding. Stixxay and Mash in a fight, though. Actually, right now, though, big item lead for the Tristana here. BF sword added to the inventory is a scary thing, but Mash getting some good damage on. Stixxay is sustained not nearly as high.
Ultimate popped.
Wow, can you get
another?
Cooldown boots are there. Pushing on in. These guys might be too
black
close. There's the reveal. There's the trap up on his face. The hook, though, the ignite is on as well. He claims the kill, but they trade it back. Honestly, that's still fairly worth it if you're Denial.
When he's jumping in like that, getting a black shield on him is actually very imperative against the Thresh. Evelyn off on the left side right now. Is Santorin going to go for the gank? No, he's not. They're actually going to look at the dragon instead.
All right, the 2-man dragon is the attempt here, but it's going to mean bottom lane outer turret could go down. I'm surprised they don't stay for it. They could have claimed that turret kill. They're going to look towards dragon. This is so easily collapsible, but unfortunately Denial don't see it happening. Great choice by Coast. Just out of nowhere to pick this up, but maybe they can pinch them off. Maybe Pooh Bear could walk over. Ward spots the 2 of them. They could have gotten some turret pressure, and they just didn't quite get it.
Just going for the zone control here. Stixxay looking for something. Isn't able to find Santorin on the retreat. Dragon goes over and makes the gold actually in Coast's favor.
This is interesting so I want to actually think about the Denial strategy there, because they didn't choose to kill the turret on purpose. They could have. I think their wards were good enough they would be safe if they stayed. So by leaving the turret up, they prevent Mash from being able to freeze like at tier 2, because Tristana can't really stop a freeze easily. And I guess it's like with Ziggs to wave clear, you can't necessarily just roam out of lane and just try to push another turret down. So they're like, well, we don't want this to freeze. We want to extend the laning phase longer, get more Rengar ganks out.
Yeah, as a Tristana, you haven't hit your peak yet.
Yeah.
In terms of an AD carry, he's not even at 1 item. Why not farm a little bit more instead of having to go to other lanes? And Sheep and Mash are good enough players alongside Santorin that if it got up to the tier 2 turret, they would just freeze it and just continually gank you if you pushed up. And Tristana pushes all the time naturally.
Yeah. Denial, I guess, not confident in their ability to maybe like randomly 5v2 the mid lane turret or something.
Yeah, but you don't want to you don't want to get out of the laning phase. You want to stay in the lane phase here for this bot lane. as long as you can, because you have a better
As long as
matchup.
you're confident in your late game. As long as you're confident in your late game. Otherwise, I think it's better to take your advantage as you have them. Anda should be able to get out. Nice jump. He's safe. There's the ulti in on towards Golden Glue. Shockwave will hit the flash in. A lot of slows. And Inori does claim the kill. So this Rengar first pick really paying off for the Nile.
Running the same composition in that jungle mid lane as Curse did and running the same combo.
And man, there we go. Bottom turret finally does go down. They claim that one, feeling a little bit safer. The TP back in for Anda. And Rux will just kind of proxy this wave. And he's actually got Evelynn for cover as well as they steal the blue buff away. So good offensive move here by Coast, but they might lose mid-outer for it. Oh, they're going to 2v2 this.
Peeling off of it. It's actually 3 members collapsing. 5 members actually collapsing onto Santorin right now.
Nice 2-man ulti by Santorin. Does buy him some time, but can he keep getting away from this one? Anda has flash plus stun if he wants it. Flash in for Inori to get the jump in, the flash in. There we go. Nicely done. They get the buffs back.
Onto Anda right now, and he needs that to continue the pressure up in that top lane because he's getting pushed in now by Rux, who's just not respecting it and going across other waves, across turrets, picking up the proxy.
Well, Denial are now playing aggressively. Mid-outer is gone. Bottom-outer is gone, and they've still got this guy top lane in Anda to try to keep pushing this forward. He's now got that 12 minion lead. This is about the lead Rux had around this point in the game, but it's a tanky Renekton build, not the offensive Renekton build, which will participate differently in team fights. So if Denial wants to win this one, and again, they're the underdogs, they are less experienced as a team, they've got to keep the offensive pressure going, I think.
Yeah, they definitely have to keep the pressure up, or else you're going to have this Tristana outscale your entire team. And the ways you can get to Tristana right now is you have to hope that you hook her in the late game.
Unlikely.
Evelynn will try to flank. Tristana has decent protection with Morgana. And the fact that you have Orianna for shield, you're going to have a lot of peel with Rengar if he decides to come and peel for you. But also Rocket jumping away. She has a lot of good self-peel.
This fight, though, Rux doesn't take much damage anymore. Early Sunfire versus Tank Renekton, and you don't easily win those trades. Red buff, I think, would be Anda's biggest source of damage in this fight. Santorin looks to hold the mid lane. Golden Glue will stay safe on this one.
I actually want to addendum what I said earlier about the Thresh hook. There's still a Morgana. I talked about Morgana like right after. I'm like, even that's hard. So you want to get this Tristana to late game, and that's really going to be a huge boon here for Denial.
Well, maybe they can make that one happen. 1,200 gold lead for the team, looking to win this matchup. They're going to have really hard odds of making the playoffs if they lose this match. This is a very important best of 3 for these guys if they want to make the postseason tournament.
Coaster already in.
Yeah, Coaster guaranteed. They can just kind of screw with everyone else, though. They can also guarantee you first round bye if they keep winning. So
that's what you would want.
Yeah.
And also, you know,
it's just worth it.
Keep going. You can get more experience against these higher teams, and you have the possibility of knocking one out completely.
Okay, well, Inori, there's the ulti popped in. Sheep wants to protect. He's got the pink cord, which means Inori's going to get spotted there. There's the play. He's already ready for it. This is not good for Rengar. Goes in. What damage can he deal? Well, not enough for sure. Stixxay just can't really help.
Right across the pink ward. Sheep just sitting in that bush.
What a prediction.
I think he was clearing a ward out at the time, so that they would have known that there was a pink in there.
I think he was playing protection. He was, like, knowing Rengar would come try to stop this. I think it was completely predicted there.
Brilliant.
Mash taking big damage, so in comes the board to try to defend them. Box comes down, TP as well. Will Sheep go down? That's a 1-for-0. They trade back in. Yes, the turret does a bit, but 1-for-1 turret going down. Golden Glue joining the team as well.
The teleport in. No teleport for Anda. He's got to walk that one out.
Oh, the extra kill picked up onto Inori and the turret going down. Coast are back into the gold lead here, and that Tristana pressure suddenly became a lot less scary. Smash goes towards his Yomu's build. And Centaur now starting to own the jungle as well. He will take away this Wraith. And life gets a lot better now for Team Coast.
So Stixxay actually put 3 points into Explosive Shot and then maxed his Rapid Fire.
Cool. I like that build. I think that's actually the optimal build for Tristana.
I was looking at that and I'm like, oh, it's very interesting.
Yep. That means you have max Rapid Fire by level 10, which is around the time that people are like, oh, Tristana falls off late game. Well, if you have an eye edge and 90% bonus attack speed, it's a decent mid-game team fight. To be honest, like, that's just really auto attacks. That crit for 240 damage.
But I also like the fact he just put 3 points into Explosive Shot to shove the wave as much as possible and harass.
I mean, that's a standard. Like, you got to get the points in there earlier. You don't have to lane phase at all. But I like the transition off early on. I think that's actually optimal. Team Coast right now taking down this not turret, but dragon. They've had complete control over dragons this game. Maybe even this series, to be fair. And that's keeping them now 1,200 gold in the lead.
They gave up the very first one of the very first game.
Yeah.
But since then, they've been right on top of it every time.
Speaking of being right on top of it, Rux heading over to that side of the lane. Ward comes down, will watch for Inori most likely, and honestly, these guys are just treading water up in the top lane, which is the right thing when you're Shyvana. When it gets to a team fight, life's going to be painful. Inori is going the full offensive build. Wriggle's Lantern completed, wants the Pharaoh Flare, doesn't have that yet. 18 minutes, about the time you start counting. Is it up yet? Is it up yet?
Sure.
And adding a Youmu's.
He's going for the damage build here for Rengar. We've seen some tank Rengars. We've seen some cooldown reduction Rengars.
Hey man, 25% in items ain't bad.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm sure they have 5% from masteries on top of it.
A lot do. Dominate did earlier. He actually just sat there at 30% CDR, didn't have any other sources, and just had 30% CDR for his build and then went tanky. Right now though, we're gonna see, I guess, what else Inori can grab. What else he can do. 1, 2, and 3, a better score than last time, but he's actually seeming to run out of steam a little bit. The last gank he went for got completely blocked out by the ulti, the Pink Wards of Sheep.
Well, they've kind of broken the laning phase right now. The turrets are starting to fall. Rengar's going to have to go a little deeper for these kills. And we saw when Dominate was playing Rengar, if you're not, he was really tanky. And if you're not tanky, when you dive in, it's very, very difficult to get out. So you have to dedicate and get multiple kills off the back of it and be very coordinated with your mid laner.
Right now, the mid laners haven't been part of many of these fights, really. Nabu Bear, 0-0-1, the 1-1 and 0 from Golden Glue. Pretty similar scores there on this one. And right now, it's Denial trying to push the advantage. I think they still feel like they're ahead. And Coast sort of starting to claw back into this one because of Dragon pressure. There are still plenty of pink wards down in the opposing jungles. Coast have still been owning the Dragon side of the map, whereas Denial do have great vision control over the northern jungle.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of wards inside of the jungle of Santorin to keep vision on him, even when he's not at camps. You can see those pink wards all around. They cleared out one previously when they were at the red. But now, if you keep tabs on Santorin, it's usually what's going to dictate where the next team fight's happening, because top laner is just going to keep pushing. Bottom lane, they're in your mid lane. They're answering it. Where is Santorin going?
Right now it's the mid lane, but no one knows about it.
Other question is, where is Inori going? Is he going to dive straight into that team and get a shockwave off?
Yeah, problem is there's less things to find. Yeah, you can go for the shockwave engages and try to make it work despite fighting against the box and a Ziggs ulti.
He's going.
Squishy.
TP for Anda is up. Rux doesn't have his.
Well, they speeded him up, and they kind of realize what's happened at this point.
Ooh.
And Inori does not quite get the route he wanted on Golden Glue. Out they go. Anda and Rux still trading blows. And Rux, the only guy who's really by himself, is tanky enough to survive that whole matchup. Support Daddy taking some culling damage. But this siege looks to be working very well for Coast.
Siege from Golden Glue again, allowing them to push down turrets. Rux now winning that matchup, pushing in Anda, getting him to half HP and making him play more and more passive.
Inori's back there one more time, throwing out skill shots, but he takes really high damage from all this poke. Has the Feral Flare 21 minutes in, but if he's stuck here defending mid, he's not getting more stacks, he's not getting more dangerous. And Anda's actually losing health pretty rapidly. Rux, though, I guess, is taking damage as well. Maybe this top lane can turn into a fight, but Rux is going to recall for health.
Yeah. Rux, actually not. He's sticking around.
Okay. I'm actually surprised that he went for Spirit Visage. It is a lot more health regen than Banshees. You get like flat HP regen by having the item. But I haven't seen that as often ever since it stopped having 20% CDR. Banshees tended to be more popular here because it has more defensive stats, but Rux wanting the extra sustain. Because he's not even, like, he hasn't even bought Lifesteal yet, so it's really just the HP 5.
There it is. There's the Lifesteal.
All right, well, now it counts.
That was the plan.
Okay.
Going into it. Rux's build. Okay. It all makes sense now. Mystery solved.
Rux always does have his interesting builds, though.
Yeah, he does. I always want to know what his real builds are, though. Because sometimes he doesn't always whip out the most optimal thing. And he's like, I can just buy this item. I'm going to do it. Early Brutalizer. I'm back. I can get... Yeah, let's get ourselves a Black Cleaver.
Why the heck
I've seen BF Swords. I've seen Trinity Forces on Renekton.
That's true. Guy does whatever it feels like. But you know what?
It works out when he does it, though.
Tends to work out. Exactly right. Team Coast up 1,600 gold right now. They had a pretty rough start to the laning phase thanks to Inori's great jungle Rengar ganks. He is transitioning into a bit of a tankier build now. His source of 10% CDR was a Brutalizer, whereas it was Kindle Gem from Dominate earlier on, who had gone, I believe, towards Locket with that build, but looks like Giant's Belt into tanky stats here for Inori. But it's going to take him some time to find another way in. Nabi wanting to sweep away wards with the rest of the team. There's the pink Dragon control. Started here. And actually, just look at the difference in ward coverage, to be honest. Great wards out for Denial. Coast have some room to go. Golden getting rooted up. Big damage. Nice pickup. There's finally the Rengar gank. Coast got sloppy. Golden Glue by himself. Nicely done.
It took them so long to pull it off, but they do it 30 seconds before the Dragon is up, and Golden Glue is not going to be up in time for when it starts. He might just barely get in range to actually throw out his ultimate, but there's still 7-second lag time between his spawn and the Dragon's.
So Dragon up in 11 seconds. You can see a total of 4 wards down. Literally 4 wards down. That is it for Team Coast. You got a guy with a Sight Stone. He hasn't even used all his charges right now. Sheep is having a really difficult time getting control right now, whereas the Nile completely rocked this side of the map with vision. And there we go. Dragon, very clean. No chance, no threat. Getting their way back in now.
It's going to put them even now with Team Coast once again. Stixxay didn't even use his ultimate in that kill on Golden Glue, so he still has it available. Inori, though, what is his next move? He is the biggest facilitator here of the engagement for the team.
Yeah, ulti's back up right about now. Ding.
And
that was on cooldown for about 3 seconds, or off cooldown for like 3 seconds.
He's
no one's here at bottom.
But
Bottom turret's theirs. Bottom turret is there. They're getting some ward down. They can see. Suddenly there's the team. And by the way, Tristana with a mini wave right here. But right now, Coast actually looking for the mid lane. This is actually a bit of a base raid. Uh-oh, Anda's not in a good spot. There's the jump on in. The hook's going to land, and there they go. They can push down for this turret, taking a bit of aggro, but Santorin's going to be safe. Tristana is a very fast pusher, though. Will this really be a base race?
Oh, they interrupted Inori's back. Also, we saw the ultimate Mega Inferno Bomb from Golden Glue clear that minion wave underneath the turret.
These are late recalls now for the Nile. This could be easily the inhibitor turret, and it's going to be the case. Their Golden Glue just now joins the team. And look at this. The inhibitor now under fire. Anda is still dead. 15 seconds. Support Daddy by himself. He ults and flashes away. Shockwave only catches the support, and they pick up Morgana, but they trade out Santorin's Evelynn for that. Mid inhibitor goes down, but can Denial pick up more kills? Inori's ulti still 3/4 of the way down. 1 for 1. I don't think there's a Baron attempt on the back of this.
They were doing so well, too, on the side of Denial. And they go for that push off of Inori's ultimate, which caught nothing. And Coast says, we'll base race you, but we have this ultimate from Golden Glue that cleared the tower wave, so they couldn't push for a tier 2, actually inhibitor turret.
Yeah. Absolutely big teleport coming in for Anda, though. He wants to stop this blue buff attempt. Golden Glue still gets it, though, but can they pick him off? There's the dash from Mash. Nice lanes are going to keep Golden Glue safe. The hook's going to hit Inori there. He could root someone and get out, maybe, but he's got to be real careful. Anda comes in. They will trade, and Inori actually lives. Nice Denial.
That was so close. He ends up
Ziggs ults up soon.
Sliver of HP. He's looking for it, too. He's trying to chase.
There it is.
And... oh!
I can't believe that.
Oh.
He actually ran through wards to do so. So I feel like you gotta like predict it and just like turn around randomly. And just like go at a weird like gigantic zigzag and just hope.
He stopped there too. He's like, oh, I'm dead.
Or yeah, or run by support Daddy Nabi Poober and be like, get ready to shield me. He's gonna ult. Unfortunately, they didn't see the one coming. Nicely done, right on cooldown. Team Coast now look for the Baron because the enemy jungler is dead, and this is no one even trying. I was talking about blue team vision a second ago.
Oh, yeah.
Dragon went down. It swapped. Look at the just swarm of wards down for Coast. That's a Baron picked up. Golden Glue gets out safely. Beautiful play.
So much control of that mid lane and all surrounding areas of it. You can see the pink wards all up in their jungle, and on Denial's side, too. Rux has one guarding that lane. And now with the Baron up, Team Coast, and about 2k up now, it's going to be really difficult to wrestle control from them. Stixxay, 4-0-1, having a much better game than he previously did.
Yeah.
And he is hitting those Tristana power spikes. If he gets the last Whisper, he can start to deal some damage to Rux. But before that, he's still pretty much just a mild nuisance.
Yeah, you do roughly 20% more damage just from the unique passive against the tank of Rux's stats right there. So it's a pretty big spike, not even counting the AD you're going to get, which is another about 20% bump in attack damage, to be honest. So there's a lot to be desired here if you're Stixxay, but he's not far. There you go, picks it up. This is a pretty good spot. Problem is Team Coast holds Baron, and they've generally held some pretty darn good team fighting skills as well. So there's risk here for the Tristana.
Yeah, I don't think Coast, once they get a lead, they usually don't lose those games. I'm trying to think back to the Curse Academy game.
They usually don't lose games, period.
I think they ended up losing that game when Curse Academy just kept getting the first dragon off of lane swaps over and over again. But we'll have to see they don't usually make very bad decisions in the late game that cost them. Because they just set themselves up for success in the early game.
They've been making good choices, to be fair. Support Daddy's going to get the bind and a mash, but there's not that much threat, and it takes a flak shielded hook, so no one cares. There's the wards down into the brush, so these flanks are watched fairly well. Coast have one above them, and Nori has the ultimate. There aren't pink wards to watch him go in, except for down for the bottom, but if he comes from the top side, he won't get spotted. There's the first pink ward. Okay, so now the major gank attempts are warded out.
The way in spotted for Denial would be seen 100% right now. Inori, even if he loops around top, they'll see him. Mid lane still has super minions pushing it. Granted, it's the mid lane, and it'll be split between the turrets in terms of damage. It's still going to require attention, and Stixay's on it. That's going to tell Coast, though, to go up and just face tank it.
Yeah, there's the face tank, and they're going to look nice and happy on this one. Well done there for the bottom tier 2 mid inhibitor earns them that bottom turret plus patience, and out they go. Sweeping the wards just in case, but who cares? Ward's getting killed away, and now look at this, Coast owning a little bit more of that southern jungle, and back into the mid lane for the open inhibitor.
Yep, they're going to go back to it, pick it up for themselves, and start getting vision again of this area, but wow.
You're getting that binding.
Nori, he's going for something. He's going in.
They go in towards Mash. They get some decent damage. He's going to jump out, though, with the Lanterns. Shockwave in for Nubby Pooper, and they find the kill on Santorin. They trade back, though. Rux will go down. 2 for 2 so far as they keep trading kills back and forth. 3v3, similar members alive. Slow onto Golden Gloom, though. Stixay half HP. He's got to be very aware of Ziggs, and Nori is squishy. Support Daddy gets the binding. Stixay's got to be so afraid of this damage output, though, that it gives away the mid inhibitor.
And the wave clear was still up for Team Coast, so they can just shove in easily with Golden Glue Ziggs and then get that inhibitor for themselves. The Dragon is up. That's most likely the next point of contention here. But Inori, trying to force the issue, goes after Mash. Anda follows it up, gets the stun off, but Nubby Pooh Bear gets collapsed on by both Santorin and Rux, the frontliners, and they pick up both of them, but they trade Nubby in return. But they also abandoned their front line.
Yeah.
Anda gets dropped.
That was the weird thing, is they had to sort of play made for the back line, but immediately they said, nope, never mind, don't go for that one at all. Instead, they turned back to Rux and Santorin, and bought time, but Golden Glue got a 4-man Ziggs ulti to help soften up the back line. That is not something that really Denial had, so that is a very big difference there, is one of these teams can actually reach the back line appropriately.
Yeah, it's that situation where your back lines dive, or your front lines dive to their back lines, then you kind of swap. You're like, okay, our tanks are in your damage dealers, and your damage dealers are on our tanks. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just trade them, and our damage dealers will still be up, and that's about it.
They now need a way to play around the Ziggs bomb. I mean, ultimately, it's like they have to play around the mid laner's ultimates. I think that's actually the biggest part of these fights here. That was, I think, a 4-man Ziggs ult from Golden Glue. That's actually part of what earned them the inhibitor, was the fact that Stixay had half health. Support Daddy was weak as well. But also the fact that you saw a great 2-man Shockwave got them the kills on Rux and Santorin. So things to really keep in mind on this one. Denial are just kind of holding what they can. 3,500 gold deficit isn't bad, but of course Coast have earned that despite being down earlier on in this game with great plays.
Oh, Inori, he's going on to Golden Glue.
Look for the play. Shotgun going to get dodged out by the Zhonya's. Golden Glue, the bind's not going to come out in time, and Nori's got to back off, but the rest of the team might be coming in.
Support Daddy coming in.
Careful. There's the ulti in from Morgana. Does he have the support to stay alive, though? It's Santorin getting stunned up, and there's Anda in the back line, but Mash just won't go down. Rux makes his way in, jumps across, and isn't going to fall either. Beautiful fight there. Coast pick up 3.
Stixay took so much damage from Rux while in the back line that it's a 3 for nothing. Rux doesn't even drop. Such low HP, gets Buster Shot away at the end just to get him out of his face. Amazing play there by Coast. The TP in was right on target.
Beautiful stuff. And now look at this. This turret is going to be taking a whole bunch of damage. Going to be going down. Let's watch that 3 for 0 again.
Yeah. The Shockwave right as... He did it preemptively too. Shockwave wasn't even out, and Golden Glue used his Zhonya's. Gets slid away, and meanwhile, Rux teleports to that bottom ward and loops around to just go after the biggest threat on the team. You can see here, he just comes right after. He's dueling Stixay right now. Gets him very low to the point where he can't even continue that fight, and does his job as a frontliner, getting to that back line.
Getting away cleanly is the big part as well, taking out the damage but not giving away the gold, whereas unfortunately for Anda, he's had a very rough time in these team fights. Even though both AD carries are gigantic 4-0-3 on Lucian, 5-0-2 on Tristana. They're just not having the same impact because of how well the front lines stay up against them.
Right now, there's just scarce ward coverage from both teams. They're trying to wrestle it away from the other. Support Daddy in denial. Now setting up for the Baron. It's up in about 15 seconds.
And they're trying really hard to set up ward control over Baron. They're trying really hard to make this the case. Bind, not going to land. Ziggs ulti, neither. And Nori, no ult just yet. Santorin walks in and says, hey, let's take ward control back.
They have complete control of this area, but the problem is that Coast, they have more options. They can go ahead and run down middle. There's going to be super minions coming in from all angles. Denial, are they going to defend? Or are they going to fight, make a last stand?
Well, mid inhib's coming back right now. You can see by the lack of super minions there, that means the inhib is coming up by the time this lane reaches, or this wave reaches. Ulti, though, from Inori. Can he get in? They look for the way. Shockwave only hits Sheep, and there's the dive. Beautiful Ziggs ult catches everybody. This is not going to be Denial's fight at all. Kills going left, right, everywhere. Only Stixxay is alive, and he's got almost nowhere to go.
Oh,
the hook is going to land. Kill secured by Sheep. This is surely going to be game at 34 minutes here. Team Coast looking great.
And the style points there from Golden Glue being golden in the air.
Yep.
They're going to pick up the inhibitor for themselves, start closing out the game. Very decisive fashion there in a 5-0 final team fight.
There you go. The minions are coming in. There goes the turrets as well. 34 minutes. Great series here played by Team Coast. Got to hand it to Denial. They tried as best they could. They had a good-looking game, too, but Coast continue their winning streak now. 2-0 in the quarterfinals.
And that early game was looking really good for them, but then they just trailed off in the late game. The fact that Rux had gone even in that top lane and then had the better teleports in team fights was really big. And then also the fact that Ziggs was on the team and the Shockwaves just weren't in the right spot. Inori kept delivering the ball, just not completely on the 4 targets they wanted. It was about 1 or 2.
That's true. The actual engages were a bit different, and that's something I guess I didn't really think about during the game. But I said, yeah, the mid laners' ultimates are important. You know, Ziggs had those great Mega Inferno bombs off of Rux diving in, and Rux just survived with it, and he started burning down the back line. The Rengar into everything else, like all those ganks, the Rengar ganks were good.
Yes.
When the team grouped up, we never got those Rengar shockwaves. Like, Coast did such a good job of scattering out against that, and then coming back in and firing in with a vengeance. It worked so well.
Yeah, they really just kind of had their front line be the front line. Rux was not present. Santorin's invisible. And then you're like, okay, we're going to scatter. Ziggs is all the way in the back. We're going to have Sheep hold the front line. And I think Sheep has good enough reaction time that if he sees the exclamation mark above his head and they start to dive towards somebody behind him, he's ready with the flay.
Even those, though, don't always matter, because we saw many times a dissonance plus a black shield, and it was you often had a black shielded shock-waving Rengar coming in. You actually can't counterplay that move. You have to just run and hope you dash away, and that was done by Coast. They actually got away from those, which is incredibly impressive, because you can't just, flame out of the air. Not even an option.
That's true. That's true. They ended up trying to do that a couple times. I remember this, one of the 3rd or 2nd ganks, they ended up not putting the black shield on him, and he was under turret, and he almost died. But the first gank, black shielded, completely thwarted the Thresh. I thought that was a brilliant plan coming into it. We just didn't see enough of it in the late game.
That's true. I like that you said it was a brilliant plan. I completely agree. Denial, I was like, wow, the Morgana early pick, that's so weird. It wasn't for the lane matchup. It was a team strategy they had built up. And I do like Denial. They do look pretty good. I like they have comps like that are ready. If you give us Rengar, the rest of our team is ready for the cool strats that come out in front of it. That's all kinds of awesome. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Team Coast, definitely a stronger team today. And a well-deserved 2-0.
Yeah, they've been 2-0ing most people, so Denial can't take it too personally. Second place team got 2-0'd by them, LOL Pro.
Yeah.
And now Coast, they're just looking so strong right now. Denial, I think they're still a little bit in the running to be in the playoff spot.
Technically, they can get a big tie for 6th place. It's just very unlikely.
Possible.
It is possible. Hey, we'll see if it happens, of course.
Yeah.
We'll see. We've got more games coming up throughout the weeks to come. After today's matchup, here's how the Summer 2 bracket shapes up. Of course, with their win, Team Coast is advancing to the semifinals to face the winner of tomorrow's match between Team 8 and Zenith Esports.
Then next week, the quarterfinals continue when Team LOL Pro and Wasabi Gaming battle in a 3-game set. The winner of that match will face Curse Academy or Cognitive Gaming.
But before all that, there are more North American LCS games tomorrow when Team Curse goes up against Evil Geniuses, then Dignitas takes on Counterlogic Gaming.
Then Cloud9 faces Team Solo Mid, and Complexity battles LMQ. It all starts at noon Pacific Daylight Time, 9 p.m. Central European Summer Time.
So with that, we've reached the end of our time together tonight. But before we go, I want to say thanks again to our friends at Coca-Cola. And now for myself, Cyrene, and the entire live broadcast crew, thanks for watching. Good night, and GG. There's the reveal. There's the trap up on his face. The hook, though, the Ignite is on as well. He claims the kill, but they trade it back. Anda is still dead. 15 seconds support daddy by himself. He ults and flashes away. Shockwave only catches the support, and they pick up Morgana, but they trade out Santorin's Evelyn for that. They go in towards Mash. They get some decent damage. He's going to jump out, though, with the Lantern. Shockwave in for Nubby Pooper, and they find the kill on Santorin. They trade back, though. Rux will go down. 2 for 2 so far. They look for the way. Shockwave only hits Sheep, and there's the dive. Beautiful Zigzag catches everybody. This is not going to be Denial's fight at all. Kills going left, right, everywhere.